Name a better show than Welcome to Derry. I'll wait. Welcome to Derry is one of the top shows of the year. It's top 5, and it ain't 5. It might be top 2. I don't know if it's 1 yet, but let's talk about it. The cinematic universe gets expanded and the dancing clown is back. When the unexplained disappearance of kids rises in this town, a new group are hunted by the sights of their biggest fears, and although they may be young, they may be the only ones to stop it. Welcome to Derry is set in the 60s, way before Losers Lovers Club ever existed. This is the long-awaited backstory of Pennywise the Clown and the cursed town of Derry. From chapter 1, 2, and now this series, the It franchise may be one of the best ever. And I know that may sound a little dramatic, but just hear me out. So I've stated before in another video that Get Out was revolutionary because of how it shaped how we see horror films today. But another reason why 2017 was so iconic was because of It Chapter 1. The emotional connection to the core characters, the perfect execution of horror, comedy, and drama, the chemistry and performances given by the actors. There is something about a good coming of age story. There's something about seeing these kids in these independent situations that it just hit a little different. It just sticks with me. From the Goonies to the perks of being a wallflower, and one of my favorite, the inevitable defeat of Mr. and Pete. And y'all don't even know about that one right there. Jennifer Hudson was a crackhead sucking meat for a cheeseburger. Hey, look, bro, we gotta keep it PG-13, man. That was a little crazy. That was crazy. We were all kids wanting to go on these world-saving adventures, but that emotional connection, it carries over into this series. Welcome to Derry is immersive. Each episode feels like a seat at the theater. You get caught in uncovering the mysteries behind Pennywise, the plot of Grogan being on the run, and the military secretly trying to use this entity as a weapon. When I state that the It franchise may be one of the best ever, it's not really a definitive statement, and I may be even doing just a little bit of projecting because of how good I'm expecting season 2 and 3 possibly to be. There are a lot of good franchises. I mean, when we look at the Hunger Games, I mean, most of the dystopian future type of shows or movies, like The Maze Runner, Divergent, we're looking at pretty good franchises. I really just want us to put some respect on their name, because we're looking at It Chapter 1 being record-breaking in horror film, being one of the best movies of the decade, and especially for its genre, and the records that it broke along with its shifting culture. There's another It film from the 90s, but I knew nothing of Pennywise the Red Balloon until 2017. On top of Chapter 2 being something that completes the story, gives you a brief backstory, and being an overall good film, we have this show. We're looking at one of the highest viewerships and debuts for HBO. We're looking at a franchise that so far has not been able to miss. And even when you're done watching the show and the movies, there is so much more research and lore that you have left. It just keeps everything alive. Shout out to Stephen King for being such a GOAT. Now, I kind of want to just talk about the show for a minute. Marge. You almost got a whole video just dedicated to you because of how you was moving in the first half of this show. Boy, your validation to be liked was putting you in some scary situations. There is no way you wanted to be popular that bad. There is no way you were willing to backstab your own best friend for a group of girls that's gonna peak in middle school. There is no way you were sitting there making fun of your own friend just so you can get a couple laughs. There is no way you wanted to look cool that fast, but your redemption arc, it comes. Now, it comes and you losing some stuff, but hey, I respect that you eventually came around. You became a good person because, whew, you were gonna be the real monster of this show. You know, sometimes you do genuinely gotta allow a person the time to change because you eventually come around. You eventually become a big piece in saving not only the town, but the world from this monster, from this evil. And we find out at the end of the episode that she is more integral or more connected to the lore than we ever thought. My boy Rich, I need a moment for this one. You ain't have to go out like that, my boy. My boy Rich was a great friend. No, an amazing, phenomenal friend. I don't know too many people that's willing to make that type of sacrifice. And then on top of that, it felt like this felt like a Titanic type of sacrifice, man. Now, Ronnie is somebody, I think overall, I liked her character. You felt like, I would say you felt like the leader of the group for the most part. A strong, emotional character. Now, the only problem that I got with you, my girl, is that you was willing to go through hell and high water. You was willing to get on everybody's ass for not doing and risking everything to try and save your father. What you supposed to do that? That's real love. The problem that I have with you, Ronnie, is that once you obtained your father, once you're able to see him, and you know that Pennywise is still out there lurking, you all of a sudden don't give a fuck no more. Like, all of a sudden it's, oh, I have my dad now. I really don't care about trying to stop this monster anymore. I just wanted my dad. When they sat there and said, hey, let's try to stop this monster, you was like,
my dad's right there. I'm good.
Now, you do come around eventually, and I understand, like, your father is an innocent man. I finally got him. I don't want to risk anything to lose him again. And you know, I love the little love story between you and Will. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're probably about to leave Derry and never think about this or anything that happened ever again. But Will is another character that I really like during this show. A very smart kid, shy kind of to himself, but he is a genuine person that begins to find himself and his confidence as the show goes on. And he is another one that we find out is way more connected to the lore than we ever thought. Now, General Shaw. From the beginning, from the get-go, there's something off about you. There's something like, you know what I'm saying? You can sense something suspicious is going on. You seem very dedicated. And I know that there was something going on. I just didn't know what your overall plan was. But for you to experience this beast as a child and then grow up and think to yourself, how can I weaponize this nigga? And I seen something that said Pennywise is the evil entity in the show, but General Shaw is the monster in human form. This plan was stupid as fuck. Now, we're talking about a different time back in the 60s during these wars, and American pride was a lot stronger back then. And his plan is to weaponize Pennywise from foreign and civil threats, but it's not in the way that you would think. The way that he perceives it to his people is that he is only trying to completely destroy this entity. And the ones that are actually on the battlefield putting their lives at risk also believe this, even though they don't fully know what exactly they're even fighting. And if your whole identity is that you want to protect the people of this country, why are you putting your most dedicated soldiers at risk while you sit up in an office looking at paperwork? And your whole overall plan isn't really protection, it's power over people. So he believes that fear is how you keep people in line. Whenever tragedies happen, and especially when there is casualty, people will see that and become fearful to act out. He thinks that if he opens the door to let Pennywise out beyond the town of Derry, he can use fear as a weapon to have power. And I couldn't wait for him to get what he deserved, because he realizes that Pennywise is not a dog that you can put on a leash. It is a way more powerful being than he ever thought. But I began to have a bigger takeaway from this that I think is showcased better in the movies, that even when Pennywise isn't around, these people are still being controlled by fear. And even outside of the cinematic universe, in the real world, I think we are all consumed by the same fear. Whether we think about it or not, in a way, fear does control big portions of our lives. The reason that most people don't act on their intrusive thoughts or do crazy things like robbing a bank is because of fear of punishment and the consequences that they'll face. Think about how many people hate their jobs and stay there for years, decades. And of course, it's usually because of family situations, but for the most part, it is comfortability. It is the fear of leaving and aspiring to do or want more because you don't know the risk. And although we don't have to worry about Pennywise turning into our biggest fears and eating our heads. And I think a lot of people, me included, we're consumed by the fear of the unknown. We don't go out there and talk to that bad IG model because we're afraid of being rejected. We don't go for the highest paying jobs because we're afraid that we're inadequate. Us as people, are we not consumed by what ifs every single day of our lives? And although I do think the general's plan was dumb to even try, the idea and concept behind it kinda has truth. So yeah, there is only one other show that I've watched this year, and that was Severance, that I think was even close to this show. But we're talking about chapter 1 being elite and top tier in its genre, especially if we're looking at movies from the last decade. I'm not sure how chapter 2 is perceived, but it's nowhere near a bad film. And we're talking about this show, Welcome to Derry, being one of, if not the best show this year. It's getting kind of tough to name a better franchise than this. With so much lore, so much backstory, with amazing production and writing, with top tier performances from almost every actor they put on the screen, with how well they're able to keep a connection to the characters while making everything suspenseful. Hey, it's better than most movies this year. Welcome to Derry is must-watch TV.